Hey everybody, it is Mr. Lynn here, day 20 of quarantine, another beautiful day. Be sure to get outside and get a little sunshine going. Today I want to talk to you again about practicing. Today I wanted to kind of dispel some of those excuses that we usually get about practicing. I don't have the space, I don't have the time. My neighbors complain, right? I hear all these excuses from my elementary school students, especially about why they don't practice. Well, really, excuses, they're just that. They're excuses. Whether or not there's some backing behind it and there's some truth behind it, relying on an excuse is not going to make you better. So today we're going to get over some of those excuses with my top 5 tips on practicing at home, in particular during the quarantine. Number 5, pick the right room. I know this sounds a little funny, but you got to pick the right space for your practicing. Different rooms are going to have different acoustics. For example, if you play in a stairwell or maybe your kitchen, it's probably going to echo a lot. It's going to be really loud, which is nice if that's what you're going for. If you want to feel good and sound good, practice in an echoey location. Everybody sounds good in a hallway. But if you're facing situations like there's other people at home that you don't want to bother, or your neighbors don't like to hear you practicing, I recommend you pick a room with maybe a carpet on the floor, someplace with a bed or a couch. Anything that is plushy and absorbent is going to also absorb sound, and that's what we want. Okay, so you absorb that sound. The more different angles in a room that you can find, the better it is, especially for the lower pitch instruments. Angles absorb sound. So if you're trying to absorb sound, avoid rooms that are very boxy and empty. The more things in it, the better. The more soft surfaces in it, the better. Helps to absorb sound. Tip number 4, somewhat related, think about the direction that you're playing. Okay, so especially if you are a very directional instrument, like a brass instrument, the sound shoots out that bell, right? Think about the direction that you're aiming that sound. Okay, if you can aim your instrument towards that soft surface, that's going to absorb a lot of the sound. The closer you get to that soft surface, the more sound it's going to absorb. So I don't recommend you jam a pillow in your bell, but if you kind of get your bell closer to the pillow, that's going to absorb a lot of the sound. Think about your direction. Tip number 3, find a good time. All right, so if you're in the situation where you got a lot of people at home and they're all trying to work from home, doing Zoom meetings constantly, or your neighbor's working from home, or maybe you've got a little brother or sister who needs a nap, right? You got to think of all these things when you're scheduling your practice time. Don't practice too early in the morning. Your neighbors won't like it. Don't practice too late at night. Your neighbors won't like it. Okay? Think about those kind of things. Strong suggestion, try and coordinate. Tell everybody in your family and your neighbors, I'm going to practice from this time to this time. That way everybody can coordinate around it, or somebody can tell you that's not a good time because of this. All right, coordinate your time. That's going to help a lot. Tip number 2, try silent practicing. Now, silent practicing is not as good as regular practicing, but if you just get your instrument out and you go through the motions with the instrument, right, doing the fingerings, as if you're playing, but don't actually play, it's better than nothing. In fact, when I took piano lessons way back in middle and high school, my piano teacher, every once in a while, if I was really struggling with a passage, would take me over to her dining room table, and I would just plunk as if I had a keyboard, but I'm obviously not actually playing. Sometimes doing those motions, but taking the actual sound out of it, will get around some of that frustration you might face. So, not as good as good old-fashioned playing, But in a pinch, practice silent practicing. Number one suggestion on how to practice during the quarantine: set yourself a goal and perform. Maybe you want to set yourself a goal of being able to play something. You pick it. Maybe I want to play a an old solo from high school, maybe Morceo Symphonique. I loved playing that solo. I'm going to set myself a goal of how to perform that for people. You always work better when you have a goal. It's just the way it is. So whether you want that goal to be, I'm going to record myself playing this and put it out there on my social media, or I'm going to gather my family in the living room and play it for them as a concert, or if you've seen the clips of people doing porch concerts, going out on their front porch or side porch or in the yard and playing for their neighbors, keeping that distancing happening, it's a good idea. So those are my top 5 tips on how to be practicing during our quarantine. Bottom line, make sure you do it.